Hello and welcome to another Stellarian Games video. In this episode, we're going to be doing another lava terrain. This time, it'll be the extra terrain that goes on top of the UDT, the Ultimate Dungeon terrain. The first item is going to be a flat platelet, and the second is going to be some volcanic craters where it has some open lava for players to dip into. These could be used on either side of the UDT. If you want to take a look at that, you can look at my last video for the UDT. One side is just fully open lava, the other is got the platelets. These platelets would be very good on the open lava side so that you could make it a little bit more open lava where people would have to jump and try to get across, where the volcanic ones could be used on the lava side, but also could be used on the already kind of crusted over side of the UDT. So that's what this video is going to be about, just looking at how to make these kinds of terrains. And let's go to the table and see how it's done. Okay, for this video, we're going to be using some scrap pieces of XPS. These are actually the cutoffs from the outside of my UDT as I'm cutting them off. So these corner pieces aren't really useful for a lot of other things, so I decided to use these for some basic terrain elements. So for this, we're just cutting out some rock structures, chipping away at the edges. For this one, I'm using the kitchen knife, and this is a fairly dull kitchen knife, which forces it to kind of tear through the center of that styrofoam, giving it a nice textured surface. Then I'm using the knife to texture the edges, just tearing away a little bit at the edges just to give it a little bit more texture. I'm making some smaller elements as well, so that it would be useful for making small little islands for people to hop and jump across. Then I decided to make some pieces that have the calderas in them. And for this, I'm just using a small Olfa knife and kind of slicing into it to make an inverse cone into the styrofoam. That way I could make those where the hot lava would be resting in. I'm using a hot glue gun to fill in where the hot lava would be extruding, using it to make it look like kind of bubbly lava. I had to put a couple different coats on because it kept melting into the styrofoam, but that's right, it gave it a nice lava look. I also used a piece of 2-inch XPS and decided to make a little bit more height out of this. So I used the kitchen knife to kind of tear into it. Again, it's not making good clean cuts, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Then I'm tearing away at the edges and using that small Olfa knife to cut in the inverse cones for where the lava will be sitting. Filling in a little bit hot glue on those as well. Now I'm using the black paint and Mod Podge mix and coating all of them top and bottom. I had to do those in 2 separate coats, but this is just the top coat. Once that was done, I used some white acrylic paint and coated the hot glue where it was extruding from the styrofoam and also in those calderas to give it a base coat for the yellow paint to sit on. This yellow paint will not cover the black very well, so I had to put a white undercoat. Then I came along with some orange, even while the yellow was still wet, and kind of mixed it in to give it a little bit of a diffused look. And then I came along with just a little bit of red and mixed that in as well. Once that was dry, I'm taking a little bit of black and doing a really light dry brush over it to give it some kind of crustiness look over the top of the lava. And the last step, I'm using some gray paint and just doing a very light dry brush over it to pick up the highlights of the texture on the styrofoam. This matches the UDT that I did. All right, so here's the finished product. This turned out very well. It is really nice and modular for the open lava side. It can be used as some extra terrain on the other flat side as well. But overall, I think this turned out pretty well. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.